Hello fighting fans around the world. We are at the World Vale Tudo Championships from Recife, Brazil. My name is Bess Boone and next to me is David Bayouth. Are you ready, Dave?
I'm ready for a great evening here in Brazil. It's nice and warm and should be some hot action.
Well, it's Frederico Lapena who puts on the World Vale Tudo Championships number 7. There's a very interesting super fight in this fight between Edson Carvalho, the one who sent Walid Ismail to the intensive care after one of the most bloodiest street fights of the city of Rio de Janeiro, against Igor Ice Cold Vovchanchyn, the Russian unstoppable machine who's just winning fight after fight after fight.
Yeah, Igor is incredible. He's the first fighter in the history of the NHB to unify all 5 belts. The WVC from Brazil, AFC from Russia, IFC from the Ukraine, the RNF from St. Petersburg, and Pride from Japan.
Yeah, this man is a story. I mean, he is really unbelievable as a kickboxer to achieve so much in no-holds-barred fighting. 32 victories, 1 controversial defeat is the record now in April '99. 5 8-man tournaments they won and many super fights. He is just an ongoing living legend. Well, so it's going to be promising a very exciting night with this Igor fight against this Carvalho. We're now at the introduction of the fighters. We're here in Recife, Brazil. It's one of the 3rd biggest, here's the laws by the way of the octagon. There's no biting, no eye gouging, no fence holding and a 30-minute time limit. We're in Recife, Brazil. It is one of the 3rd biggest cities from Brazil. It's near the beach, it's very nice, it's pretty. You have Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo and it's like somewhere in between. It's near the coast and it's promising now. That's the 3rd time the event takes place here and the people are just very excited to see fights here in Recife.
Yeah. And here we go, ready for the fighters' introduction. This should be a very exciting night of no holds barred, real no holds barred. Most places in the world don't allow it anymore. And in America, popularity fell off when additional rules came into play, and it just wasn't the real thing anymore. So, but tonight we've got the real deal. It's no holds barred, and we're getting ready for the action now.
Yeah, it's the same story everywhere. It's politicians, it's boxing organizations who are against it. It just had here's the ways of winning by knockout, tapping out, corner throw, towel, of referee intervention. It's the similar rules of these typically no-hold-barred events held in Russia or in Brazil. There's an upcoming one in Aruba. It's an island from the Dutch Antilles where they're going to promote a cage fight there. It's going to be the World Vale Tudo Championships number 8. Well, as we look in the cage, we can see the fighters are all mentally and physical ready for the fights coming up this night. It's going to be very exciting. Some of the fighters have to fight 3 times on an evening. And it's going to be a very, very big endurance for everybody to fight here, especially because it's 37 degrees Celsius here in Recife, Brazil.
That's for sure, boss. It will definitely be a test of endurance because not only will all the fighters have to deal with the heat, but then when they win their initial bouts, they'll have to come back and defend it again. So.
There's a good side on the heat as well. It's you don't need to warm up yourself so much, Dave, when you step into this case. Only the way of walking up to the entrance already will make you very limber and warmed up. And it's very, people get sweaty very much, so it's very difficult to put an arm lock or a leg lock to an opponent because of they're sweating so much. I think because of this sweating, we will see a lot of fights with a lot of punches and kicking. Don't you think so, Dave?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's the quarterfinals, by the way.
Yes, boss. As you just mentioned, these fighters will be sweaty tonight, and many times before we've both seen that holds and chokes just can't be completed because they just become so slippery. Both fighters become so slippery. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I would expect that if any of the fighters take a strategy going away from holds and more of just being having physical contact, they may have an advantage with their fight.
Yeah, I think that the one who has a real good stamina and conditioning with punching and kicking are in favor when it's really hot like this. We can see in Holland that, and that's one of the reasons why No Holds Barred doesn't, use the balsam and oil, because of problems with getting that in your eye, or like the tile oil when they warm up. The fighters take that and then they, it's very hot, and when you get it in your eye, it's burning. That's one of the reasons. And the second reason is, of course, when you use Vaseline all over your body, it's very hard for a grappler to finish you in a choke. So this is one of the things in Brazil that makes it also very attractive, because the fight will just go on longer and there is more kicking and punching.
That's right. So you're right, it will be a test of endurance. So it's time to find out, as the introduction is out of the way and we're ready to start the fights. So here we go with our first fight this evening.
It's going to be very interesting because it's Russia against Brazil. Russians are tough. They don't want to give up. They don't know the word tap out. They're just going. They train. They have nothing to live for as this type of fighting. I think the first fight is going to be interesting. It's Assuerio against Mikhail Avetisyan. Avetisyan is the only fighter who made it 33 minutes with Igor Vovchanchyn, the other Russian fighter in Israel, and lost on a point decision. But we start with the Brazilian Assuerio, who's entering the arena right now.
Assuerio is very well known in Brazil. I think this evening he may have an advantage because he's used to training with this 37 degrees of heat. And of course, all the Brazilian fighters have a very unique style that maybe the Russians aren't used to. So, boss, we should see something.
Looks big for a Brazilian, Dave, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's very big for Brazilian. Very muscular and well trained. So this should be a very interesting fight.
Well, what I've noticed is that he taped his hands. Not many Brazilians do this. Now we're waiting for Mikhail, the Russian fighter, to enter the arena. This is going to be a war because I've seen this Mikhail in action, Dave, and he's the coming man in no holds barred fighting, I think.
Maybe with the taped hands, he's going to be hitting more instead of grabbing, because with taped hands, it may be a little harder to do a lot of the holds and chokes, but it's great for punching and making contact. So,
yeah, I suppose so. I think it's more dangerous by wrapping the hands, but I think the knuckles are still free, as I can see it correctly. So we're waiting now for Mikhail, who he fought a real war against Igor in Israel in the Absolute Fighting Championships #3. Just an incredible 33-minute war these both fighters put on there, and so I'm expecting a lot from this fight coming up now.
Assuerio is having to wait here for a little while, and sometimes can make a fighter a bit nervous waiting, because he's got to think about what he's going to do, and he's got some time and just standing and pacing in the ring. So what do you think, boss?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes the favorite fighter wants to come up last for the audience, to just keep the tension in the audience and keep the excitement there. Sometimes it can be an advantage, sometimes it can be a disadvantage. It's just, I think he's relaxed. He just walks around and he just wants to fight.
Well, hopefully for Assuerio, just standing there and pacing around, he doesn't cool off too much and face an early knockout. So,
yeah, that will be the day a fighter only drops from the heat before even a punch is thrown. But here we are, Mikhail. And the plane has landed. The Russian arrived. He comes in and enters the arena, and they close the door immediately. So they're up to the fight right now. He looks physical, very, very well prepared, the Russian. Don't you think so, Dave?
Absolutely. What's he wearing on his hands? Are they small gloves?
He has small gloves. He likes to wear them. I think just for the protection. Last time he fought a Cage Fight 4 tournament, he fought against Bob Scriber, and I think he hurt his hand a lot.
And the official's just checking to make sure that he doesn't. He's been taped properly and his gloves okay, and we're ready to start here. So both fighters are coming together. No.
He looks mean, Dave. This guy, look.
And so does Assuerio.
I think it's ready to. Yeah, they start.
Referee's giving the last rules here, and here we go.
I think the Russian wants to go to the ground as quick as possible. You know, his style is wrestling. You know, he doesn't like to throw punches. I saw that against the fight against Schreiber. But we'll see what the Brazilian does. I don't know his kicking and punching techniques.
His stance looks more like a boxer at this point. So.
Here we go. I told you he wanted to go for the takedown straight away. The Russian fighter. He just wants to fight on the ground. I don't think he likes it to fight standing up. Yeah, as I told you, Dave, look, there's the takedown.
Well, they're in close and not a lot's happening yet, but a few head punches, but
I think he's in a side mount position. Now he's in a oh, that's a nasty headbutt from Assuerio.
He definitely looks like he's got the advantage on Assuerio, so. Boss, what does a fighter like Assuerio has to do to get out of a position like this?
Well, it's very, as you can see, the Mikhail is just working with these terrible headbutts, and so for him, it's the only way is a reversal. He has to turn his opponent by putting his feet in his hip, as you can see that, and then just try to roll him over and try to get the mount position. Oh yeah, there he goes. There he goes.
Now he's on top, and let's see what kind of attack move he can make. And he's got a few headbutts himself. But I think he would rather stand and fight fist to fist, and it doesn't really look like this is his style of fighting.
It might be not his style of fighting, but look, I mean, they both give headbutts, and somebody starts to bleed soon, Dave. You cannot give headbutts like this without, cutting somebody.
Yeah, and Assuerio's really built well, so I think he can hold his own in a wrestling position. And here you get a good shot of his really big arm, so.
I think this is also a period where you have to take your breath, and you have to recoup from the first takedowns and the first actions you made. You see the Brazilian's very, quiet. He takes his rest. He looks at his corner man, and then when they recoup, you can see they try to get the position. Here's an elbow. There's another elbow. He's in a good position. This Brazilian fighter. Look.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is what Mikhail expected. And left after left into the body, and those have to hurt, and that will really wear down a fighter. So.
Yeah, I think this is a toll for the Russian fighter, this Mikhail, to take this type of punishment. A nasty elbow to the face of the Russian fighter. This Assuerio is, and he's taking the shots. It's not that he just really puts power in it. He waits till he has the right position. Then look, he makes the headbutt when he knows he can make them, and he just it's all with full force. He looks very strong. This is going to have its toll, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now it looks like Mikhail cannot break out of this position that he's in, and he's just taking a beating. So he's going to have to turn around pretty quick if he wants a chance in this fight.
Well, I'm kind of, I'm surprised. This guy fought 33 minutes with Vovchanchyn. So he has to. I think you have to stop this guy by knocking him out, or the doctor has to go interfere in the fight. This guy won't give up, Dave.
Oh, here he goes. He's trying to turn out of it, and I think he's going to do it. He's got the leg.
I think it's nasty. Look at a nasty elbow again to the face. It's the tape has gone loose of the Brazilian fighter.
He for a second he had him in a choke with his elbow, and so the Brazilian definitely knows several techniques besides just contact boxing.
Just for the viewers who are watching right now, we have Assuerio, a Brazilian heavyweight fighter, on top. On the back, it's Mikhail Avetisyan from Russia, and it is a nasty fight. I mean, he is just having the best position, the Brazilian, and he keeps on punishing the Russian fighter.
I'm amazed that we don't have blood in this fight yet, because we've had a lot of contact, a lot of headbutts, and that's really bone on bone, and it doesn't take much to break open the skin and have blood spurting out everywhere. But we haven't seen that yet, but I would almost certainly think that will be coming in this fight.
I see a little cut on the eye of the Russian Mikhail, but it's not real bad. Oh, again a terrible headbutt and a punch of the Brazilian fighter. That hurts. Look, you can see it in his arms. That really hurt.
The Russian's trying to fight back. I mean, he is one tough cookie. I mean, he's really endured a lot of big punishing blows here, and he's still fighting back. So I wouldn't give up on Mikhail just yet.
Is that a choke, Dave?
It looks like an arm lock, and I'm not sure what he was trying to do with the arm lock. He gives another headbutt.
Well, we're about 5 minutes in the fight, Dave, and it's still powerful.
Yeah,
they are not tired.
Absolutely. One thing about a fight like this, I mean, it's great for us watching on television, but it's a difficult fight for the viewers there, because they can't see, what you're seeing on the screen, and it's too bad for them. But we do have a close-up look, and we can see all the punishment.
Oh, terrible headbutt again. You saw the referee making loose the tape, and we saw a move here now by Mikhail going to the fence and holding the fence, which is forbidden, just to maybe get a better position and turn out of this back position. The Brazilian keeps on them out strongly, and it's he has to take the stronger punishment.
Yeah, and he hasn't found a way to break out of this. It doesn't appear that he has the strength to break away from Assuerio. So it's going to take some other tactic for him to get out.
I think this position is worse, Dave. I mean, look, he's now with the back of the head to the fence. He's still on the mount. He won't give up this position. Don't you think it's more difficult to turn your opponent right now?
Oh, absolutely. I think he must be tired from all those blows, and probably a little bit dizzy as well.
It's a strong defense, though, the Russian have. Just to lie on your back for 5-6 minutes, take this punishment, and then just try to hold your opponent as close as possible, or in a position where he can't hurt you too much.
Up to this point, it's really hard to tell if Mikhail is hurt or or not. He's taken lots of punishment, and devastating elbow.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's still not really like a big cut on Mikhail. He took some blows, he took some punishment, he took some elbows, headbutts, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and you definitely can see that he's a well-conditioned athlete, because he's still taking it, and I wouldn't count him out of this fight yet.
Oh, I see a heavy, nasty cut. Somebody is cut nasty. Look, there is I think it's the Brazilian.
Now now the fighters are free. The referee stopping.
Oh my God, it's the Brazilian who has the cut. How did he get that cut?
Wow. I think it was on a headbutt. Oh, you can bet Mikhail is very glad to be out of that position.
I thought he did something, man, but because you know that headbutt came. Look, the doctor says you can't fight anymore. This is impossible. Oh, he had the best position, and he has to quit this fight. That wasn't. I told you it had to go this way. You know, those headbutts, and those elbows are just devastating. It's a shame a fight has to end like this, Dave. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for Zulu, who looked like he really had that fight. He had the position for most of it. And he threw most of the punches, most of the headshots, headbutts, and it came down to this. But that's how the fight business works. So. Yeah,
well. It's. I don't think Mikhail likes it to win a fight like this. He's a very sportive fighter, but we can see the cut is just too big, and he doesn't like it. Man, he really is very disappointed in. But you can see the cut is too deep. And blood is coming into his eyes. Then you just simply can't defend yourself anymore. So winner Mikhail, he advances. We will see him in the next fight against Douglas Silva or Kavkaz, depending on who's winning the next fight.
Well, we'll see if the damage he took in this fight will carry on to the next fight, or if he's in pretty good shape.
Eu vou perguntar aqui pro nosso amigo Mikhail, como é que é lutar no sol desse calor de Recife, vindo da Sibéria, 40 graus abaixo de zero. How is it coming from Siberia? A place which is 40 degrees below and coming to Recife where it's hot as hell.
Спасибо за теплый прием.
No difference in which place fighting. In Brazil, in Siberia, no, doesn't matter.
Pois ele falou que não há diferença. Luta é luta. Lucas.
Well, it's Douglas Silva against Kavkaz Sutarim from Russia. It's a freestyle against a Muay Thai style. So it's going to be interesting again, Dave.
It'll be interesting to see if this has any similarities to the first fight. Once again, we've got a Russian going up against a Brazilian. So.
Well, it's kind of interesting, Mikhail saying in his little interview he did. The guy asked him, because it's so cold in Siberia, now fighting over here, if there's a difference, and he was very clear about it. You know, his answer was, well, the fight is the same if I fight in Siberia or here. It's the same fight, it's the same blood, it's the same pain.
Well, I can imagine that Siberia would toughen up just about anybody.
Yeah, I think, and when it's a freezing cold, it's like a very hot. Okay, here we see the Brazilian fighter coming in. Doug, big Brazilian, Dave.
Absolutely, looks a lot like the last fighter, Assuerio.
You think they're brothers?
I don't want to get into that, but
they got a very different name, so they're definitely not. Well, we're waiting for Kavkaz Sultanmagomedov. We'll just call the guy Kavkaz.
Neither one of us speak Russian, so.
Oh, this is a determined face. Look at the Russian.
He's not sweating. I wonder if he warmed up before this fight, or if he's just going to step up there cold and see how fast he can get warm. And he's in the ring now.
I don't know. I never saw Kavkaz, the Russian fighter, fight before. He's a Muay Thai fighter. That's what it says. So I'm gonna be It's going to be interesting to see how many ground fighting skills the Russian guy has.
We'll see here in just a minute.
Up we go, Dave. Beginning of the fight.
The Brazilian really has large arms and upper body strength, but the Russian looks like he's got a very overdeveloped chest. So here we go with the fight.
Yeah, I think the Brazilian is going to go for a takedown very quick. At least that's what I make of the position he's fighting in. The Russian just waiting to throw a good punch or a kick.
And these fighters are bare-fisted this time, so.
Yeah, I think it's for the fighter to choose if they wear little gloves, little protection, or not at all, Dave.
Well, I think, of course, if they have contact with their fists, there's more chance of blood and also injuring their hands. So,
nice leg kick by Kavkaz. I think the Brazilians became more careful with takedowns after they saw Vovchanchyn. Here we go. After they saw Vovchanchyn, destroying opponents by, when they try the takedown by diving to the legs, and then just immediately the knee followed, and some heavy knockdowns were following by some Brazilians. And I think they learned from that, so they're more careful now in making that type of takedown.
We're still early in the fight, and neither one of these fighters have really cracked a sweat, and now would be the time to go, move in for a takedown, because your opponent's not going to be too slick. So the beginning of the fight would be a good time to go right in and bring your opponent down. But they look like they're boxers at the moment, and neither one is really.
Again, good low kick from the Russian Kavkaz guy, and he doesn't check it. I mean, he doesn't block the low kick, the Brazilian. So if you can have kicks like that for the coming few minutes on the same spot, it's going to hurt. Oh, great left hook. I think he's hurt. Don't you think so, Dave? Look.
Yeah, he's going backwards. So, oh yeah, he's hurt.
He is not secure of himself to do this takedown. You can see there is fear in the eyes of the Brazilian.
Yeah, he wants to go in for takedown. He doesn't want to box him, but so far his attempts haven't worked. So he's going to have to get in and get around the body and bring him down to the ground to make it his kind of fight.
It's quite funny, they used to have a supremacy in this type of fighting, the Brazilians, but you really can see now, especially from the Russia, Asian countries, but also from Europe, people start learning about ground fighting, and kick and punching is back, Dave.
That's right.
It was an inside low kick from Kavkaz again, and he's simply the more aggressive fighter right now.
Yeah. Both fighters have been a little slow to get off here. They've had a long period to check each other out, and I just suspect any minute it's going to break out in probably a different kind of fight. So.
Well, the Russian is taking good to the middle of the cage, and it's just doing what he does best, and it's kicking and punching. Okay, now the referee is breaking the fight up, and he's saying you have to fight. It's necessary you fight. Both you should fight. You can see that when the Russian is throwing a punch. Oh, great left hook! Oh, he taps off! Look! He must have hurt him with that left hook.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that Silva really needed to go in and go for a takedown because this was not his type of fight. He was completely disoriented, trying to box, and he really needed to get in there and go for the takedown. But
amazing, and Brazilian stepping out from punching. I mean, you know, where's the sport going to? And this is really getting interesting.
And what's interesting to note is Kavkaz will really have an advantage going into his next fight because he really didn't suffer any type of injury in that fight and didn't have to put that much effort into it. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in his next fight.
The thing is, it's going to be two Russians against each other.
His opponent had his head down the whole time. Why didn't he go for it and finish the fight right away?
Я принял свою борьбу. Русский сам. I use Russian style sambo.
É isso aí, usou o sambo style.
Well, Dave, it's two Russians in the half final. It's Mikhail against Kavkaz. So we have one Russian in the final already.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting fight too. Especially, it'll be interesting to note if Mikhail suffered much damage, because we know that Kavkaz really wasn't hit with any major blows in his fight and had to put in very little energy to win. So that'll be interesting.
But I still think Mikhail is the more experienced fighter, so it all depends on if he can take the ground.
A revista Tatame, Marcelo, o que você acha? Edson, Carvalho ou Igor Vovchanchyn?
A gente, o brasileiro, logicamente, torce pelo Edson, né? Mas acho que o Igor tem muito mais canja de rir, está muito mais acostumado a lutar vale tudo do que o Edson. Mas de qualquer forma a gente torce, a gente quer ver a ação da Iauara, vamos ver o que é isso, a Iauara. A gente sabe que é um grande caixa-grossa no judô e no jiu-jitsu. Então vamos ver se funciona a tal da Iauara que ele tanto fala, né? Vamos ver.
Parada dura. Lucas.
Well, we saw Andre Turo going to the cage, and we were waiting for Maxim Tarasov. Tarasov is a well-known fighter in the no-holds-barred fighting industry. Here he is. He was at the Absolute Fighting Championships all the way into the beginning. He fought Marias. He's been in Israel. He's a very experienced no-holds-barred fighter. Obviously, he's from judo, but he also controls a punch. He's very determined. He won the cage fight tournament number 4 in the finals against Van den Burg. So we will see. I mean, I think he's one of the favorites for this tournament, Dave.
Oh, he is. Both of these fighters look a little bit smaller than the other 4 fighters that we've seen up to this point, and it'll be interesting to see if weight plays a factor in a fight like what we're going to see this evening. So.
I'm wondering if these Russians understand this little English the guy speaks. Does he speak Russian? What do you think, Dave?
I don't think so. I don't think it matters. I don't think any fighter pays too close attention to those last words because they're busy getting geared up for their fight. So here we go.
I think he's big low kick and a quick start. You can see the experience of Tarasov. He's trying to do a guillotine choke. He has a very good grip, Dave. You will see in future fights. The Brazilian is trying to do a takedown. Although he's tall and not so muscular, he's very hard to get to the ground. He's a skilled fighter. You see, he doesn't want to go to the ground.
Well, a lot of that goes in with the stance he's carrying, and when necessary, he'll widen his stance and plant himself well on the ground. Very hard to take a fighter like that down.
You see, Tarasov had to lose the grip because the guy was punching his ribs. the ground, you know. I think maybe he thought the grip was so good he had that, you know, he fell backwards.
Well, I think he lost his advantage, that's for sure.
Well, you never know, Dave. Some people just light the fight from their back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we saw the Fabio Pacholek fight, you know. I mean, you know, Pacholek was in the mouth, but just Fabio was dominating the fight, and we saw him fight like 30 minutes that way.
Oh, good headbutt.
And again, I'm gonna be. If this goes on like this, Dave, there has to be. We're getting blood in this fight. It's an aggressive fighter, the Brazilian. You could see it straight away when the fight started. He went there, he kicked him, he tried to do the takedown immediately. Oh, good reversal by Tarasov. I told you, he's an experienced ground fighter. He's very experienced, Tarasov, in no-holds-barred fighting.
Yeah. He looked like he was just waiting for the right moment to make his move. And now he's in position to do... and there we see his headbutts, and he's pulling Toro's head into his. A lot of fighters don't have the experience to do something like that. They, you know, wouldn't attempt something like that. So.
Oh, it's a good right blow from Tarasov. Oh, good, great left rights are hitting. They're all hitting the face. It's amazing what he can take, the guy, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is he doing? Is that a side mount? What is he in? What kind of position? What is he doing, Dave?
I don't think he's really doing much of anything. There he is turning out of the move now.
Oh, he gives his back, man. I mean, Brazilians never give their back. Now it's just a matter of choking him. Here we go. Here we go, Dave. No, he can't win this fight. He's going to tap off.
There it is.
Oh, what a brilliant move by the Russian. What a great and nice victory by the guy.
Toro was in trouble. The second he turned his back, that was really the fight. And you saw for just a moment he had his arm up to try to protect his neck from the choke move, but the second that moved away, Tarasov moved in. So one mistake, and that's all it takes against Tarasov.
Well, there's one Russian who still can. There's one Brazilian, Demonia Negro, who still can, you know, have the heartbeats going on from the Brazilian audience, because, you know, there's one more fight, Magomed against Demonia Negro, and, you know, we have another Russian going to the half finals. It's going to be a Russian war there in Brazil, Dave.
I don't know if the crowd is appreciating these fights because the Brazilian fighters have advanced. So.
Well, I think Assuerio did a good job.
Are they going to fight among themselves for real? Yeah, if the Russians are going to fight between themselves, with each other.
Okay, this will be real fight, because all the fighters training in different gym can live in different city.
Perfect, thank you very much. Ele diz que a luta vai ser pra valer, que eles têm diferentes técnicos, diferentes artes marciais e diferentes cidades. Lucas.
I think Assuerio did a good job as a Brazilian. I mean, it was a nasty way of losing for Assuerio against Mikhail. But we have one more fight to go, and then we have like Tarasov against the Russian or Demonio. It would be funny when Demonio Negro is losing that fight as well, because, you know, then there's like four Russians in the final, so it's like a Russian finalist.
I think that says something to as to what you mentioned earlier, and that the other, fighters that are non-Brazilian have learned a lot of the techniques that the Brazilians have used in the past and always did very well with it. So it'll be interesting to see this last fight if one of the Brazilians can advance on. So.
I think it's a matter of skills and endurance, but especially people who are very advantaged in kick and punching, and also have a background in sambo or judo. You can see they study ground fighting now as well, so it's getting more and more interesting every time.
Yeah. And all these Russians are very tough.
Yes, the Brazilian. Here's Demonio Negro. He's a popular fighter. This is going to be an interesting fight, Dave.
Well, the weight falls on his shoulders tonight because he's the last Brazilian that we will see unless he can advance on to the semifinals.
Yeah, and the guy he is fighting, and I hope I can pronounce this name, it's Magomed Mirzamagomedov. We'll just call him Magomed.
That sounds fine with me.
And again, a big Brazilian.
Have you seen Magomed fight before, boss?
No, I've been in Russia a couple of times, and in Russia I didn't see him fight before. I know he has a little bit of experience in no-holds-barred fighting. Here we go. Look. He looks a little bit like Kavkaz,
Yeah,
the fight
I
he
was
was
going to say that as well. Maybe they're brothers.
Time for the Truth. That's the title of this World Vale Tudo Championships number 7. And it looks like the truth is in Russia, Dave.
Well, so far it is. This will be an interesting fight. Negro has a 20-pound advantage over Magomed, and to this point, most of the fighters have been fairly equal in weight. And you can see that most of that weight is in his upper body. He also appears to have very strong legs and a slight height advantage.
Again, it's a big Brazilian. They start eating more iron, I think, in Brazil as well. Look.
Here we go.
It's interesting to see how the Brazilians also try to take the initiative by kicking, Dave.
And you can see by his stance, he's prepared to kick a little bit more, I think, than Magomed. Magomed appears like he wants to come in and grab or fist, do some fist work, and there you see what he started off with is the fist work. So,
well, this Magomed guy is in the purple red chunk. From Russia, and in the black trunk we have Demonio Negro from Brazil.
I don't think it's too hard for our fans to figure out who the Brazilian is in this fight, do you?
Well, maybe he had a suntan, or maybe he's from America, you never know. They're talking, look, they say, come on. That doesn't hurt, look, they're talking. They're really into the fight, Dave.
Yeah. Well, both of these fighters come from a boxing background. Is that right, boss? So,
well, as they move and how they defend. Oh, good left hook. You could see, look. You could see the Brazilian. He duck a little bit and then throw in the left hook. It was a perfectly boxing technique. And every time there is blows, you can see the Brazilian like, come on, come on, come on. That doesn't hurt me.
Yeah, it seems to fire him on.
Ooh, if that right hand would have landed, then we would have a knockout.
Yeah, this may be a very quick fight. It could be decided with just one punch.
And again, it's a good counter from the Brazilian. He leans backward when the punch is landing, and counters directly with the right punch.
Yeah. Magomed's a good puncher, though. He compresses his punches. He's a little bit more compact with his punches, and Negro goes a little bit wider with his punches. It takes longer, and for when you do that on a quick fighter, he can duck and get out of the way of those punches. And that's worked to
It's a
advantage.
good front kick from the Russian, and you can see when it hits, when it lands, the Brazilian is going from, it doesn't hurt me, come on, is that all you have?
It really appears that neither fighter is interested in grabbing and trying to take down, which could be to Negro's advantage with his. He's a heavier fighter, and he has. It's clear he has very good upper body strength.
Yeah, depending on his determination and also his conditioning. Sometimes when you're heavy like that, especially when it's kick and punching, it's gonna wire you out more quicker than a lighter fighter, Dave.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's when, if you're a big fighter and you can get in a wrestling position. Here's our first takedown.
You could see how dangerous a low kick like that is. Immediately the guy takes the mount.
That was very, solid, right on the top of the head.
Yeah, I think it's stupid, he should save his fist, He rather would do that with an elbow than a punch.
Yeah, but he comes from a boxing background, so. Now Negro needs to turn his position here and take advantage of being in the wrestling position, and maybe he can wear the Russian down. There he's trying to turn him.
It looks like it's going to be 4-0 for Russia, Dave. They got some fighters in that country.
Absolutely. There are so many Russian fighters coming on.
That's almost a reversal. The referee said, don't hold the fence, don't hold the fence.
Well, it's clear this is not a good position for Negro. And he's spent a lot of energy trying to hold on and protect himself from being hit. And the Russian's not doing anything except sitting on top and waiting to punch.
I think it's stupid to throw punches like that when you're in a position. I think it's good to work on the ears and just, to make the ears sore and work with the open hand, and sometimes just, try to work with your elbow instead of, breaking your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's clear the elbow is a very solid point, much more solid than a fist. Also, in close quarters like that, you can really put leverage on an elbow punch. But
you can see the Russian knows about ground fighting. You could see a classical move from the Brazilian to do a reversal, and the Russian, is putting his ankles on the back of the hamstrings of his opponent. He doesn't want to be thrown over. He doesn't want to be in that position. So he knows about ground fighting, Dave.
Yeah, he's a more compact fighter, and I think it's a little bit harder for these taller fighters to make some of the moves if a compact fighter can have a good hold himself in a good stance, as we see the Russian is doing.
Or do you think he should turn himself quick and then be on his belly and try to get up?
Well, at this point, I think he needs to do anything he can to get out of this position.
I know, but it's like rule, you never give your back to an opponent, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw what happened in the last fight when the Brazilian gave the position away on his back. So I wouldn't want to have my back to this Russian fighter.
Yeah, but is he as skilled as Tarasov? That's the question. Oh, he's out. He's almost out. Oh, he takes some heavy blows now to the face. Now he's out.
Yeah, now we have another new fight again.
You can see it's a good defense against the takedown by the Brazilian. Oh, now the Brazilian is there. Look.
Oh,
good lefts and rights, and they're hitting.
Yeah, Russians backing up. Those had to hurt. This is a heck of a fight. Good action, by both fighters. They've both taken numerous blows.
Oh no! You can see again. He is cut. I hope they do not stop this fight by this cut, Dave.
Yeah.
I think the Brazilian just turned the fight, to his favor. He did what he had to do, and
it's his nose, isn't it? Maybe he broke his nose.
I think they'll let the fight continue. They should do. Yeah, they continue, Dave.
It's clear the Brazilian's not hurt from that. He's just a little nosebleed.
Well, it gave both fighters some rest, so on with the fight. You can see the low kick starting hurting. His leg is getting followed. Back kick by the Russian fighter.
Yeah, I expect Magomed will once again go in and go for the takedown because he clearly took an advantage when he had him down, and his skills appear to be superior, when he can get him on the ground. So
I don't know. It just depends, how the takedown follows up on the ground. Who's taking the mount position. I don't think Demonia Negro is a bad ground fighter. Oh, good solid right hand punch and landed on the face of Magomed. He's a good striker, the Brazilian. Oh, look. I think he's getting tired as well, Dave.
I do too.
But will that cut, even when Demonia is going to win the fight, will that cut, won't stop Maxim Tarasov from winning?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was did you see, is it a cut or is it a nosebleed?
Oh, he tapped off. Look, he tapped off. Well, he defended Brazil, that's for sure.
I'm not sure what happened. Did you see what happened? Did he have him in a chokehold?
I think it was a guillotine choke, but I couldn't see it, Funny that it was good that the doctor just didn't stop this fight. I mean, the guy, you could see he was starting to reverse the fight.
Yeah, and it's definitely to the appreciation of the crowd. I mean, they'd like to see a Brazilian go on as well.
I think it makes the tournament more interesting as well, Dave. If you got 4 Russians in the finals, it wouldn't be.
Negro better save his energy for the next bout because I think he's going to need it.
Yeah, well, he's up to Tarasov, a specialist in ground fighting. So, on the other hand, he's a good kick and puncher. He proved himself.
Yeah, it'll be a contrast in styles, and be good to see which style can prevail.
Demônio. Bela luta, que batalha, hein? Eu queria que você analisasse essa luta rapidamente.
Comigo é assim, velho. Me chamou lá porque quis, eu tava em casa, só fiz treinar com o professor Boca e meu professor aqui, que é o Rodrigues. E aí quem manda, eu vou mostrar hoje, quem manda sou eu. Se eu tiver em segundo lugar, velho, pra mim não é luta, pra mim é luta, mandar tudo, qualquer um pro inferno e o Sul me espere.
Aí, que venham os russos.
Que venham os russos. Tô aqui pra lutar e pra mim acabar aí dentro.
E olha que são 3, hein, Lucas?
Well, he's happy, and I think he's determined to win the next fight. Well, there's the 2 Russians are coming up. I think we get Mikhail against, against Kavkaz. Semi-finals. Are you up for it, Dave?
Yeah, I think I can handle another fight.
What do you think? The Russians are warmed up?
Yeah, I think I think the Siberian ice has melted off most of these Russian fighters this evening. That training must pay off,
com o
boss.
presidente aqui do World Vale Tudo Federation, Frederico Lapenda, que vai entregar um prêmio ao russo presidente do Motion Pictures na Rússia, e é o mais ativo martial artist no continente asiático. Frederico.
Alexander Shakov. Every year we give a sign of appreciation to a martial artist in a different continent. Last year we had the pleasure of giving a prize to Don the Dragon Wilson. This year is with a great pleasure that in behalf of the World Vale Tudo Championship and Rio Sports Corporation, we present you with the present of the most active martial artist of the decade. Thank you for your collaboration. Elias.
Thank you. Very pleasure for your attention for me. Thank you.
So Alexander Inchikov, he's a Russian movie star. He played in about 100 movies in Russia. So he's a very big movie hero in Russia. You ever heard of him, Alexander Inchikov?
No, I have to take your word on that. I haven't seen too many Russian films lately.
You didn't?
Yeah, I'll try to brush up on my Russian.
You should. It's very interesting. Now, some of them are could be interesting to see how the Russian movie industry is, because we don't realize. Yeah, we're getting into the Kavkaz Michael fight. It's up to the half-finals, semi-finals. But it's interesting to see how the movie industry in Russia is developing. I mean, the video industry. It all starts. People don't have too much money, but it's there, the entertainment sector. Here we can see Mikhail again. You can see he had some heavy blows on the nose in his first fight. And again, he wears little gloves. He's a guy, man. I mean, look at how he enters how he enters this cage. He's like, well, I'm up for the next fight. It's not like he comes in and I'm gonna fight this guy.
Yeah, I think he's an experienced fighter, and he's up there and he's doing his trade. So.
Well, there's Kavkaz. They never met before, they never fought before, so it's going to be interesting. He's a real kick and puncher, this Kavkaz guy, so I don't know. I think Mikhail wants to go to the ground straight away. So who would you bet your money on, Dave?
I don't know. I think I'd probably go for Mikhail with all the experience he has, and I think experience is a very important part of this. But anything can happen in a fight.
You see, he goes for the takedown straight away. This guy's a masterman in takedown. So quick. Look, taking a side mount. Kavkaz comes up. He's strong. He's physical, very strong. You could see that. Good knee by Kavkaz. There's some skills in these Russians, huh, Dave? What is happening? I mean, the referee's interfering. What is happening? Oh, he doesn't have a mouthpiece. He doesn't have a mouthpiece. Look.
Oh, it must have fell out, or I guess we'll get a new mouthpiece here.
Yeah, but this is bad, man, because they just were in a position where where Mikhail closed the distance and was trying to get the takedown. I think it's better. Now they continue the fight. There's no mouthpiece. Or maybe the guy doesn't have any teeth.
Or maybe he won't have any teeth in just a minute.
That's bad. I have a sports show. It's called Nickel Shogu Sports in Holland and Netherlands.
Hello,
and I sell mouthpieces, and I should advise the guy to buy a mouthpiece.
Well, maybe you should run up in the ring and give him one.
No, I make my living by selling mouthpiece. I don't want to give them away, Dave. You can see Mikhail is just waiting for the right moment to close the distance and make the takedown. He wants to be on the ground.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We had a lot of stand-up fights tonight already, Dave.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen more action on the mat. Here we go.
Did you saw how quick? One slight mistake, he didn't pay attention. Right, he was there, Mikhail, and straight away he started to get a mount position. Unbelievable.
And there he is.
I think we're going to get Mikhail against Tarasov in the finals. You see, he hits with the open hand. And that's just to create this type of position.
Right.
He's experienced. We can see Mikhail. He fought 33 minutes with Vovchanchyn in Israel and lost on a point decision. He's the only person to do that.
But I am surprised that we haven't really seen anyone throwing elbows this evening.
In the beginning, the first fight, we had some nasty elbows. I think it's also sometimes difficult because you give away a good position. But again, I don't know why. This would be an ideal situation to throw an elbow. But maybe it's also a problem to that your balance is not good when you give an elbow. It's better to stay in this type of position, Dave.
Okay. Well, you're asking the wrong person. I think you need to ask Mikhail. Oh, and he's got the turn on him. And he's
quite amazing, the guy. What is he? Is it an arm lock? What does he have?
He's got a leg lock.
No, it's an arm lock. He's trying to do an arm bar. Look.
Oh yeah.
What is he doing? Yeah, it's an arm bar.
Yeah.
It was an arm bar.
I'm really surprised that Mikhail allowed him to do it. I'm surprised. Well, actually, I'm more surprised than
maybe Kavkaz is just it's just a fighter who we underestimated.
Yeah, I think so.
And now we see the classical type of fighting. Somebody's lying on his back, only wants to fight on the ground, and the other one's a stand-up fighter. This is dangerous because we saw Renzo Gracie kicking Oleg Taktarov out on the same position at the Reality Super Fighting Night. So it's very dangerous of doing this type of thing. And he takes them out. He's headbutting Mikhail. Unbelievable. I think they both take a little bit of rest, Dave.
Yeah. This has gone quite a distance, so they both must be tired in the heat.
That's for both the second fight.
And that too.
And Mikhail knows what it is from fighting on his back.
Maybe Mikhail underestimated his opponent, Kavkaz.
I'm surprised, you know. I didn't. He shows some skills already in this fight. He did reversals. He's headbutting. Takes mount positions.
Yeah, it's obvious. Kavkaz is a very determined fighter. And if
don't forget that they also go for the money, of course, Dave. I mean, there's a big main prize, a main purse for a Russian to win that type of money is they become half a millionaire in Russia.
That would give, I think, most people determination.
Why is he stopping the fight, Dave?
I don't know. He didn't call it, did no.
I think his punches ripped.
Maybe he just wanted him to mix it up a little bit more.
Oh man, I think it's like a new type of rule. If it's just becoming a too, steady fight on the ground, both fighters are in a type of defending position, they let them start it up again in a standing position.
Yeah, I think that's good for the crowd because people pay their money and they want to see an exciting fight. So
I think it's good for everybody, people who watch television or a videotape, I mean, you don't want to see a fight go 30 minutes, people just holding each other. There should be some action. They should be showing and willing to fight.
I think they're both kind of catching a little breath right now.
Well, it's the second fight, and if you could see Mikhail, the first fight, he took some heavy blows, He had this big Brazilian sitting on top of him in the mount position, and he was on his back. And again, he has been in a couple of times in that position, and with, like 40, it's getting more like 40 degrees in here, Celsius. It's warm, it's hot, it takes stamina and conditioning to continue a fight and to be able to show an aggressive type of fighting.
Yeah, you just saw him taking several really deep breaths, and anytime you see something like that, you know the fighter's very tired. Here he did it again. But he had a tougher first fight, so.
Now he's saying to both of the fighters, start getting ready to fight. You should both make more efforts in doing the fight. But it's easy for the referee to say,
right. Well, it looks like Mikhail's just a little tired to
trying a right hook.
But to make much of a move. I think Kavkaz would like to counter right now. I mean, he doesn't look as tired.
You see again, it's Mikhail who's going for the takedown.
Oh.
That's a strange position, Dave. If it was a female, they should call it a doggy style.
Well, I think if they were in this position on the streets of Brazil, I could probably get arrested for that.
I don't know about Brazil, maybe other countries. Oh, what a takedown! What a great takedown by Mikhail. You could see he's closing like a snake his legs on the inner body of Kavkaz. And he turns him again. It's this amazing fight, Dave.
Yeah, I think Kavkaz just has more in his gas tank.
I think he's physical stronger. Don't you think so? Is the better physics of the guy?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think if we waive the first fight, advantage, because he clearly didn't have to expend as much energy in that first fight.
Yeah, but we shouldn't throw off Mikhail. You know, he is and stays a surprise.
Yeah, and this fight's still going on, so you know, neither fighter has clearly taken any advantage in this fight, really. So. Maybe as time goes on, Kavkaz will tire and it'll be a little bit more balanced, and Mikhail will take advantage with all of his skills and experience.
Is Kavkaz doing a headbutt?
Well, this is definitely not what we were expecting.
Yeah, but you can see Mikhail still doesn't give up. He just wants to. And you don't know. I mean, you saw them both doing reversals and taking the mount position again.
And you see Kavkaz keeps that forearm up around the throat of Mikhail. And it's not necessarily a choke.
And again, they started in a standing position. It's good from the referee, you know. I mean, if both of the fighters are not showing an effort to fight, you know, they should just stop the fight and restart it.
Well, this is definitely a fight of attrition. I'm pretty sure it's just going to come down to who's got the most gas in their tank.
Many fights in the world do have the same symptoms. It's with boxing. Now he's taking a rest. He goes like, "Let me rest." You think it's the heat?
Well, I think it's the heat and just the numerous blows and all the wrestling, all of those holds and moves on the ground really take a lot of energy out of a fighter.
Mikhail is tired. Look, he puts his hands on the hips, and he shows it.
Yeah, what you can see is he's taking very deep breaths, and he's backing up.
Or is he faking it? What do you think?
I don't think he's faking it.
No, but I mean, there's a rule in fighting. You know, you never show your opponent your tyrant, and he is just, you know, he's trying to do the opposite.
Well, I expect the referee will step in again if they keep going like this, because they really need to mix it up. There he is.
Okay, what would you say in this type of thing? You know, would you disqualify? Look, he stopped the fight. He stopped the fight. Look, the Russian says, "What are you doing? Why do you stop the fight? Because you should fight."
Right. Okay, now let him fight. Give him one more chance. Nope. So what does that do for the bracket?
I don't know what you know, if you should advance somebody now to let somebody go to the finals, yes or no. I don't know.
O juiz está desclassificando os dois.
I think that's what they're discussing now.
Yeah, but the referee's right, you know. I mean, there should be a fight, and if they don't want to fight, you just, you know, disqualify them both, I think.
Well, if they're both disqualified, then I guess that will leave Tarasov and Negro for the final.
Then we should have a Brazilian against a Russian in the final. We gotta admire the guys, man. I mean, you know, of course, as an audience, we want to see a good fight, but this is a long fight. They took some blows. This is a second bare knuckle fight on the evening, and you know, both fighters, of course, want to give their best, but it's like, you know, it's a big thing.
Well, they're still in a cage. maybe he's just going to let him rest for a minute and say, okay, boys, let's finish this off.
Or maybe Federico is just, oh no, now it's open. I think maybe Federico just wanted to close the gate and not let nobody came out.
Well, can they just lock that door? I thought that's the way it works.
Well, they should lock the door. We've seen it with the cage fight number 2 and tournament number 2 in Emmen, Holland. That photographer made a picture and forgot to close the gates. And of course, at that moment, like 1 minute later, they both fell to that position and the door opens and they're out of the cage.
And that's no problem for the fighters, but it is for the crowd. I mean, how would you like a 220-pound man?
Stop the fight. Well, who's advancing then? I'm surprised, what do you think?
George, what do you think of that result?
I don't know what's happened because this is real fight. This is real fight, I think. The fighter fighting hard.
The problem was they're just not going at each other. It was a very slow fight. But what do you think of the decision of the ref?
Because this is Avetisyan style. Avetisyan fight every time in this style. He knows that time limit 30 minutes. It's okay. This is his style. This is normal, I think. The fight, real fight. I don't know what's happened.
Thank you. Ele não sabe o que aconteceu, tá muito chateado. E temos também muito chateado, o Mikhail, que não é o Baryshnikov.
Well, Demonio Negro against Maxim Tarasov, that's the next fight. It's kind of interesting, that George Kobliansky, the trainer-manager, said that Mikhail has this type of, that's his style of fighting. He stands there, puts the hands in the hips, and just, maybe shows that he's like tyrant. That's what I told you. Sometimes he's.
And he's right. I mean, there's a 30-minute time limit, so I kind of agree with him. I mean, let it go the 30 minutes and see if there's a winner. And if they can't determine a winner in 30 minutes, then disqualify both of them. But the rule, the limit is the 30 minutes. So I know the action was slow and no one likes to watch two fighters just stumbling around the ring, but
I don't think we have this problem with this fight. We see Tarasov just entering, and now, of course, Demonio Negro, who smells victory. He had a victory in the first fight, and I think his cut, maybe stitched, or they will probably put some glue on it. And now he wants to fight, and he wants to be in the finals. I mean, he's the only Brazilian who can do this right now.
Yeah, this should be very interesting. Two very different styles and two very different physiques.
And you can see, man, he is running to the cage. He is going in there. He wants to show the Brazilian audience, I'm here for the Brazilians. I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to fight this Tarasov.
And don't forget about the prize money, and that's a lot of money in Brazil too. I mean, we were talking about how much money that was in Russia, but carry him a long ways in Brazil too. So
you can see he's a little bit burnt in the face. Tarasov has probably been on the beach first time in his life. The guy gets the suntan. He wants to go. He is ready for it, Dave. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. Tarasov just looks very cool and collected. Tarasov is 4 inches taller. He's 6'4". Negro is 6 foot. But Negro has several pounds on Tarasov. You can see it, especially in the upper chest and arms.
Well, Tarasov practiced judo, sambo, but he's also a good kick and puncher. I mean, he knows how to throw a kick or a punch.
Well, I think he's really going to have to win this fight on his technique and skills. He's really in there against a big bruiser who really wants this fight. So.
Yeah, but I think you know, Demonio is warned. He knows, you know, Tarasov is a good ground fighter. He's a skilled fighter. He did many no-holds-barred fights. I think it's number 14 now for Tarasov. He won the cage fight tournament number 4. You know, he's warned. He knows there's a skilled opponent against him. And this is gonna wear out the Brazilian, because the Russian is you know, is faking an attack. You know, there's tension on the Brazilian all the time. You see that? He's faking the attack. You know, it takes a lot of conditioning by moving around and being prepared all the time. When it takes the middle of the case, Tarasov. I'm surprised, you know. I thought, you know, in the first fight, that is the thing what I was waiting for, this type of punches, you know. The guy was throwing in punches. Oh, wow, a good counter with a right punch from Tarasov. Here we can see he's not only a judo player, you know. He can throw. Oh, what a right punch. Oh,
he's down. Oh.
He's out. He is stone cold out. Amazing, you know. The guy is a judo specialist and he wins by punching. Well, there goes the hope for Brazil, Dave.
Yep. Yeah, it was a very cool and collected Tarasov. A very happy man.
It's the second tournament he's winning.
He's going to walk away with a nice purse. And maybe he can take his holidays in Brazil after this.
Well, there's one guy. It's called Edson Carvalho. You know, he's the man who is Mestre da Morte, master of death technique, and he's fighting this guy. Well, what do we say about this guy, Dave? Igor Vovchanchyn. It's called Ice Cold. 32 fights, 1 controversial defeat, and this is number 33, and he's on a mission.
Yeah, and we've seen how well the Russians have done down here in this warm climate.
Yeah, but the thing is, Carvalho, you know, he sent Walid Ismail to the intensive care after one of the most bloodiest street fights on the streets of Rio de Janeiro. And Walid Ismail is a big name.
Igor is so powerful.
Oh, look at him punching and kicking. This is terrible. Like,
I don't see this fight going too long.
Oh, with a right punch. Oh, he hit him with that right punch.
Yeah. Very clever, though.
You saw Igor. Come on. Stand up again. He knows that is his game. He's a kickboxer. He wants to kick and punch. There's no defense. He is laughing. He is not intimidated at all with Master da Morte. He's just, you know, he is taking a beating, Dave.
Well, he's a clear strength advantage, and he's very fast.
Oh my God! Look, I'm landing this right punch. This is terrible. Look, he's rocked. This Igor guy's a guy to watch, huh?
Yeah, he looks unstoppable. He's really good.
Look at that move, you know, how he evaded that punch. No, I'm not gonna play that game. Look, Igor said, I'm not gonna go to the ground with you.
Come on, get up.
Mestre da Morte is on his back, Dave.
Well, I don't blame him. I think I'd be on my back too.
takes courage to stand up again against a guy like Igor. Look at him, knee, elbow. I mean, how complete is the guy? You know, he's incredible.
Very well trained. I mean, he's got his skills down.
Look at him, he punches the guy to the head. He shows him several serious damage. Oh, he is bleeding.
Cuts below the eye. So.
Yeah, I think they continue the fight. It's below the eye.
Of course, I don't know if Carvalho would like it to continue. Or, I'm sorry, Carvalho. Does he have a cut on his nose?
Yeah,
as well?
I mean, he has a big name. I mean, he cannot. This is very nasty for him to lose in such a short period of time against this Russian fighter. For him, it's a disgrace in Brazil, Dave. I'll bet you they let the fight continue.
Yeah. Well, he's got time left. He could do something. I'm not sure what against this big, brawling Russian.
Well, this is the result of a man on a mission, Dave. Look at the face of the Brazilian. He fought like 2 minutes with Vovchanchyn, and this is the result. And the blood we see on Vovchanchyn's face is from Carvalho. It's not from him, Dave.
Here we go.
Oh, look at that
right hand.
This guy is taking some. Oh, and again, what
Another
a punch! But Jesus Christ, and he stands up again. Amazing. Oh, this is the third time he goes down. Yeah, well, you can count. He has courage, man.
Well,
You gotta give him to that.
Yeah, he should stay down.
Yeah, I think it's more healthy for look at. And they're going to continue the fight, I'm telling you. That was 3 straight full blows on the face. Oh, this is it, man. They should stop the fight. They should. He is. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
He's gone. Well, they should stop the fight. This is, the guy is just took so much fun of me.
Yeah. And you have to remember, I mean, these guys don't have boxing gloves on. I mean, that's bare fist. Yeah, I mean, those are solid blows. So we had a very, very solid performance this evening by, really all the Russians. And I think it's a bit disappointing for the Brazilians.
That's what it says. It says time for the truth. That's a nasty cut the guy has.
Well, I think he's lucky if he just escapes the ring with a few cuts.
He took some courage, though. I mean, the guy, he doesn't take a punch and then lays down, and then, he wanted to prove himself.
Yeah. It looks like he's pretty clear again. I mean,
Look at this guy, man. He doesn't have a scratch.
He's an animal.
Doesn't have a scratch. Igor Vovchanchyn. No. World Vale Tudo Super Fight Champion again, Igor Vovchanchyn. Unbelievable. Fight number 33. This is so amazing, this guy. He fought last time in Pride, he beat Gary Goodrich, who gave Marco, who was a very big, hard time. He is continuing. It's amazing, and it's like he's growing as well. He's 105 kilo pure solid muscle. Igor Vovchanchyn. Dave? Unbelievable. You could hear the crowd yelling as well, Igor. I mean, he's getting popular in Brazil, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, these fights, the fans come to see a good fight, and it was obvious that the Brazilians didn't do too well this evening, but the crowd wants to see action, and they got plenty of action out of these Russians this evening.
Well, he won the World Vale Tudo Championships number 5. He won a super fight in 6. He won a super fight in 7. He won the Absolute Fighting Championships in Russia. I mean, he's unstoppable. He's a happy man too. And he had my mouth gun.
Maybe that was the deciding factor, was your mouthpiece.
Yeah, but I sponsored the